Hello everyone and welcome to this Dom Labs tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to add XP and leveling to your Vampire Survivors clone. So right now, if we go into our enemy logic script, which I'm going to open up in Microsoft Visual Studio, you can see that when we hit the player, we change the player health by -1, and if we hit a weapon, we destroy this game object. What we want to do is add something to our player. What we want to do is add XP to our player when we kill the enemy. So let's go back inside of Unity, create a new model behavior script, and I'm going to name this XP. Then I'm going to open up this script, delete the start and update methods, and just create a private float, and I'm going to name this XP level. Then I'm going to create a private int and name this current level. I'm going to create a public void add XP method, and it's going to take a float and it's going to be called XP, and then I'm going to do XP level plus equal XP. Then I'm going to add back the update method, and inside of the update method, I'm going to check if my XP level is greater than or equal to 5. Then I'm going to set my current level ++, and then XP level is equal to 0. So now whenever our XP level gets above 5, we are going to up our current level and set our XP level back to 0. Once we up our current level, then we are going to also add something in our weapons script to make our weapons more stronger. But for right now, let's going to go back to the enemy logic script. And then right here, before we do this, we are going to do our player.gameObject.getComponent. And the component we're going to get is XP. And we're going to do add XP. And I'm just going to add 1. For testing purposes right now, I'm just going to add 5. For every enemy that we hit, we're just going to go up 1 level. So now, right now, inside of our current level, now we're just adding our XP. Or if we go to our weapon manager script, then you can see that we have all of our weapons right here and in our weapon data. What I'm going to do is get the damage and add 1 for every level that we have. So inside of our weapon manager, during update, I'm going to create another public void, and this is going to be new level. And this is going to be called when our XP gets a new level, and it's going to take all of the weapons and add 1 to their damage. So I'm going to do a for each var weapon in equipped weapons and then for each weapon I'm going to do weapon.data.damage ++. Now it's giving me an error right here, because right now if we go into our weapon script, we can see that data is not public. We can just make that a public variable right now, and then that error will go away. Now once we are in our XP, we're going to go right after we up our current level, and then I'm going to do GameObject.getComponent, and it's going to be weapon manager .add level. And I'm getting an error here because it's called new level, not add level. Now, once we add to our current level, our XP will go back down to 0, and then our damage will be +1. But right now, inside of our enemy logic, the damage is not doing anything. We're just destroying this immediately. So, inside of our enemy logic, I'm going to create a public integer and name this health. I'm going to also just set this to be 2 right now. Then when we hit a weapon, I'm going to get an if our health, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to do health minus equal player dot get component weapon manager, and then in this weapon manager script we can get our equipped weapon. So I'm going to get my dot equipped weapons dot data dot damage, and this equipped weapons right here is a public list of weapon which has data, and then in the data it has damage. So right now the reason we are getting an error here is because equipped weapons is a list, and we need to put something for this list to have. So I'm going to do the first item of the list, which is number 0. And I'm getting an error because this health is int, not a float. So if we just change that to be float, then this error goes away. Then I'm going to take all of this and put it inside of update. So I'm going to, inside of update, do an if health is less than or equal to 0. Then I'm going to destroy the game object, and then I'm going to cut this line of code, paste it there, and just delete both these lines of code. So now the health stuff is within the update method, and this destroy of the weapon is in the on collision enter. So now we can go back inside of Unity, and then I'm going to go to the ghost, make sure that health is set to something like 2. For my sword data, I'm going to set damage to something like 2, and then I'm going to click the play button. So now when I get inside of play mode, my swords should be spawning, and now I get a null reference exception error. It says object is not set to reference, object reference not sent to instance of an object, and that's because we didn't add the XP script to our player. So we can do that now. Let's click add component XP, and then add the XP script to our player. Right now I'm actually going to change the sword damage to be 1. And then I'm also going to go to the file or edit and project settings. And then when I'm in the project settings, I can go to the physics 2D. And this is going to be the layer collision matrix. And I would not like the sword layer to interact with the player layer. So let's go to the player and add a new layer, and I'm going to name this player. Let's also add a new layer, and I'm going to name this weapon. So the player, I'm going to add the player and add the children to it too. And then the sword, I'm going to add weapon. So now you can see in this layer collision matrix that there is a weapon and player. So the weapon, I'm going to uncheck weapon, and then player, I'm going to uncheck player. So now the weapon cannot collide with the player, and the weapon cannot collide with another weapon. So I'm going to exit out of that, clear my errors, and then go back inside of play mode. Now, the swords should not collide with the player, and we also should have 2 hits for each enemy. So now they die, and now they die once a time, because now I'm going to click pause, and on my sword you can see that this damage keeps on increasing, because every single time we kill an enemy we add 5 XP. I'm going to add a debug.log here so that we can see this much more clearly. So I'm going to do a debug.log, and I'm going to call this level, or I'm going to name this killed enemy, add 5 XP. So that means you level up. Then I'm going to add a semicolon and then go back inside of Unity. And then once we are back inside of the Unity editor, we can click play again. We're going to get out of play mode and then click play again. You can now see, if I pause right now, I'm going to play focused, and then for my scene view, If I go to the sword, damage is right now 5, but if I go out, you can see that this damage is going up to 7, 8, 9, 10. Every single time I kill an enemy, it's going up. And you can see that I'm getting these debugs.logs every single time that I kill an enemy. And you can see that this is starting to turn just like Vampire Survivors. If you like this video, please give our channel a like and a subscribe because it really helps out a ton. Thank you!